This is the Town of Sherborn Zoning Board of Appeals. It is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. This is a non-40B regular meeting. Jonathan Fitch is not here, but members Todd Labby and Zach McBride are joining me, Rick Novak, for a full board. And we've got a bunch of things to cover. We're going to go a little bit out of order. First, we're going to take up number 2023-18, which is 226 Western Avenue. And I think our esteemed building inspector is ready to speak on this. Is there an esteemed building inspector available?
There is one here, although I'm not sure about the esteemed part. Hello, board. Hello, everybody. This is a project that was previously approved by finding to alter and expand an existing non-conforming structure. If we remember back from, I don't remember how many months ago, but a few months ago, this happened. The building was then went under construction and moved along. During construction, if we remember what this was, it was a sort of a vertical addition on top of the existing first floor and foundation, and an expansion of an existing garage that was within the setback on the left side. Anyway, the vertical addition went fine on top of the existing house, but when they started excavating for the garage addition, they found that the old garage foundation did not have footings and did not extend to frost depth, which is pretty common, unfortunately. But it means that you can't build another floor on top of it because it's not sufficient to bear those loads. So they had to put a new foundation in for the portion of the garage that they were originally planning to keep. Usually not a big deal. In this case, when the garage was re-poured, the foundation got a little bit bigger than it was originally proposed to be. And so instead of maintaining the existing side yard setback of 29.6 feet to the corner of the foundation, it got a little bit closer. I believe it's more like 28 and change. I don't know if you've got both of your plot plans available, but
they moved 1 foot closer to the lot line than we allowed.
Correct. The other thing that you should be aware of is that when you did the first version of this approval, there was on the architectural drawings that you approved a 2-foot roof overhang extending over the garage doors on that side. It was not shown on the plot plan that was proposed, but it was part of the architectural package that was approved. And Rick, you and I actually talked about this when the permit was getting issued, whether we needed to run it back in front of the board, and you said no. If it was part of the approved plans, it was okay. Now the plan that you're going to look at tonight, or that you've probably got in front of you, the as-built plan shows that roof overhang, and the measurement is now given to that roof overhang. So I believe it's showing 26.6. Don't forget that 2 feet of that is a roof overhang that was previously approved. It just would have been 27.6, I suppose,
Right.
from where it was going to be before.
Right.
Does that hopefully set you up for what you need to talk about now?
I think so. I think, let me just as a preliminary matter say that we've had a repeated series of this exact problem with different landowners. So, Mr. Rodriguez, you're not responsible for them. But unfortunately, after the third foul, when the refs are looking for it, the flag gets thrown. And in each case, we specifically improved an encroachment into the front yard setback or the side yard setback of a very specific amount. And in each case, the landowner then said, oh, look, my old foundation is no good, which it always is. And instead of digging it up and putting the new foundation where it's supposed to be, they said, or their builder said, hey, I've got a great idea. We'll just pour outside that foundation and move closer to the lot line. Nobody will mind. And for the record, we do mind, we do notice. Chris will always send out a surveyor. We had people, again, in another instance, not your fault, Mr. Rodriguez, have non-registered land surveyors try to tell us that the registered land surveyors were wrong. And so the point I want to make and have in the record is that we take this very seriously. Now, whether or not it's smart to make Mr. Rodriguez tear down part of his house is a completely different issue. but those are the stakes. Anyone looking at this tape in the future and wondering, gee, the board will never make me tear the house down. We got very close to making the guy tear that house down at 50 Witness Street. And if it happens again, I'm going to be a solid vote for tear the house down because it's not an accident. So I'll now come down off my soapbox, stop my rant. Mr. Truax, I bet you would like to speak for the petitioner, and we're glad to hear you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Rob Truax, GLM Engineering Consultants. So the petitioner has worked with the neighbor on this, and we just did an A&R plan to do a land swap on that side of the house so that the setback would match what you approved. So even though it still is, we're changing the lot, so it's still a pre-existing non-conforming lot, and we're making a change to it. So, but he has come to an agreement with the neighbor to the left. We've done it's 166 square foot parcel, and swap the same amount from him to us, and it's a very small sliver, so we can get that little bit of a setback. So that was just signed by the planning board, and I don't know, Leo, maybe you can tell me, I don't know if the actual deed has taken place yet, the swap, but the plan has been signed. So if that gives you any, better feeling than the one you just had a minute ago.
Well, as I say, it's nothing personal. I feel a little bit sorry for Mr. Rodriguez because two other people tried this, and he just happened to be third in line. So let me understand, Rob. You're saying, listen, you're in favor. You're here to propose on behalf of the petitioner that we approve a modification to our prior finding to allow the house to be built in accordance with the revised plans that you're giving us tonight, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone else who wants to speak against the petition? That's a great sign. Board members, any comments, questions, brilliant insights?
Just, I think I'd like to understand a little bit more from the way that this evolves and how this occurs, as you pointed out, Rick. Is it an ease of construction that this happens, or is it, oh, we want to add 3 feet to add 3 feet, or is it like we just don't want to deal with the foundation, so we're just going to do the easiest thing and go dig around and pour? Is that kind of the practical approach of the contractor?
Certainly when I had to do this on one of my prior houses in Sherborn and it was not a setback issue, it's a lot easier to just go around the outside. It's easier, it's cheaper, it's faster. But if that's what you're going to do, come in and get a permit for that.
Chris, is there any way, in the process that you see that there's an inflection point that we can have better review or a better, opportunity to, sort of impose I would say a condition or a standard or something like that?
I think what will be happening in the future is that I'll be requiring foundation only permits and an as-built prior to any framing, for anything that has a finding within a setback. It just seems like it happens too much, and a lot of people are slow to get as-built, for whatever reason. They either they think they're okay and it's not going to be an issue, or whatever, they forget about it, and we don't get an as-built until the very end. This would have been a lot easier to fix had the as-built come in right after the foundation went in. But
yeah, and Zach, to your point, I think where the board can contribute here is just be incredibly explicit in our decisions and in our meetings that this is exactly here, not somewhere else. We're not kidding. We're not laughing. And then if they still go ahead and do it, then it's on them. But it's not fair for people to be surprised, but it's not fair for the board to get snookered either. So
yeah, no, I think, yeah, to your point, just clarity of expectations is the goal. So.
Yeah, I would just add to that. I'm not sure which body or board would need to implement this, but there ought to be a prerequisite required inspection of a pre-existing foundation before we approve a second floor to be built upon that structure. I would have expected us to have inspected that already. I mean,
I disagree, because I think the premise of these is you're probably going to have to take out your old foundation anyway. It's probably going to be, you know, an old thing for just a garage, or it might just be rocks. I've got a fieldstone foundation, and it's up to them and their builder to put in a proper foundation for it. I don't think we need to be going around and inspecting the foundations in the first place. It's up to them to build their foundation correctly.
So does a foundation only permit help remedy that then, to Chris's point?
Yes, because then Chris can go out and measure it once it's poured. And say, wait a second, you put it
would
in the wrong place,
restrict
break it
further
up.
construction until the foundation is completed. That's what the foundation only permit would do. So it would incentivize everybody to get an as-built from the surveyor and get that permit closed, so we can say, yes, now your foundation is in the right place, and now go ahead and build the rest of your house on top.
But that would be done after the foundation is already poured, correct? Or would you be able to do that when the footings are in place to assess how close you are to property line? I'm just saying, based on precedent, how much capital is someone going to put in the ground, and then we have the authority to then tell them to rip that out? It doesn't seem like we've done that before in the past. That's what I'm getting at.
It tends to, a foundation permit and measuring then tends to be self-correcting, because when they know they're going to be measured before the building's on it, and there's not going to be any, oh golly, I forgot excuse, they pour it in the right place.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
like
common
we
in
all
all the
slow down
communities.
when we're going past the state police and the turnpike. It's self-correcting.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty common thing in all the other communities. Most of the towns are asking for a foundation certification prior
Yeah.
to frame.
It's a good system. I think we should do it
Agreed.
because it's fair to everybody.
Yeah, agreed. And as for this, I don't no issues with this proposal on hand.
All right. Do you want to rephrase that as a motion to approve?
I motion to approve Mr. Rodriguez's I guess, or his representative's motion for variance to comply with our previous order.
Modification, yes, seconded. And any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry, Ms. Guthrie. You're muted.
I get a copy of that the new plot plan for the file when it's done,
Yes.
where
You
the
mean
land swap is?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you mean the A&R plan.
Yes, the
Yes.
A&R plan.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So let me make a friendly amendment while it's pending to Zach McBride's motion to approve the petition for modification in accordance with the plans dated October 19th, that it be approved subject to them providing us with a copy of the signed A&R plan for the land swap.
Very good.
All right, so that's the revised motion. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, aye. By roll call, Novak votes aye.
Aye.
Labby, aye.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, congratulations. Thanks. Sorry for all the trouble. Good luck with your new place. Hope it comes
Thank you,
out really
everyone.
well.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, next up. Back up to the top of the batting order. Matthew and Ariel Tufts, renewal of a special permit, accessory apartment 11 Farm Road in a Residence A district. Is there anyone here to speak for the Tufts?
They're not on the call.
Shocking. Okay, this is a straight renewal. We can take it on the
Straight
papers.
renewal. Yep,
Sorry?
it's a straight renewal.
All right, so gentlemen, I propose that we just take it on the paper since it's a straight renewal. 11 Farm Road 322. Prior decision was granted.
It was granted
2020, January 11,
Yeah.
2020. It was going to expire December 17, 2023. So I would, well, first of all, is there anyone here to speak in favor of the petition at 11 Farm Road? Going once, going twice. Okay. Is there anyone here to speak against the petition at 11 Farm Road? Hearing none. Board members, any comments on 11 Farm Road?
None for me.
None.
All right, I'd like to make a motion then that we approve the petition for renewal 2023-14 for renewal of a special permit under section 3.2.2 to maintain an accessory apartment at 11 Farm Road in the Residence A district under all of the terms and conditions of the prior permit 21923 for a term of an additional 4 years. That's my motion.
Second.
Second motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Jeannie, these are 4 years when we renew them, and sometimes
4
we start
years.
them out at 2 just to be sure, right?
Yep, they're 4 years.
Okay, 4 years, great. Okay, so that moved, seconded. No further discussion. All in favor, aye. Novak votes aye.
Labby, aye.
McBride, aye.
All right. All opposed, no. There are none of those. All right. Congratulations to the absentee toughs for their renewal. All right, next up, 2023-15 petition of Monica Williams, special permit 3.2.5 for an appointment-only Pilates studio, 34 South Main Street, Residence A District. Is there anyone here to speak for Ms. Williams? Maybe Ms. Williams. There you go. All right. So this is not a renewal. This is a new petition, right?
Correct.
All right. So tell us. Oh, yes, sir. Because I remember the site because we gave you a finding to build this building behind.
Right, right. As a home studio. And I have been already registered with the town as a business since 2020, as a virtual business, which I was teaching virtually out of my home. And once we had the home studio built outside, I continue to work virtually from the studio, but I see a lot of potential. Since I have 2 machines within the studio, I see a lot of potential of having people come in by appointment only, which is what I used to have on my studio on the Cape when I used to live on the Cape. So you'll be just a 1-on-1 or 1-on-2 because I have 2 machines. So it's not like I'll be open to the public around the clock or, need have a lot of cars in my drive or anything like that. So it's just basically by appointment only.
Okay. So board members, this is a change, new special permit, professional occupation, under 3.2.5. It has to be clearly incidental and secondary use of the premises. One person of the residence may be employed. Are you going to have any employees, ma'am?
No.
No employees, okay. Offensive noise, vibration, smoke, dust, fumes, odors, glare, or unsightliness. This is all going to be inside within that building behind that we approved in 2021.
Correct.
Okay. No public display of goods or wares, no signs, nothing.
No.
Okay. No exterior storage of material or equipment, including parking of commercial vehicles or other exterior indication of such use or variation. So if one person comes, their car will be parked in your driveway, but that would be the same car that would be parked in your driveway if you had a guest visiting you.
Exactly. Probably if I would have like 2 or 3 cars if I have people over for dinner, let's put it this way. So if I have, let's say, a duo, since I have 2 machines, it will be max 2 cars at the same time parked in my driveway, which would probably be a very unusual situation. Most of the time I would have 1-on-1 from my previous experience on the Cape.
Okay. And is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the request? All right. Is there anyone here to speak against the request for 34 South Main Street? No. Okay. Board members, I think this was approved before you guys were on the board. It's that little White House, pretty much where Farm Road comes in.
Right across from the church. Sorry
right
to
across
interrupt.
from the church, right?
Crazy location.
And you wouldn't even necessarily notice it unless you'd permitted it or you're looking for it. But there's a little box studio out back, a little smaller than a garage, and
I remember seeing that being built.
Yeah, that's where she does it, or proposes to do it. Questions or comments from the board?
Nope.
I see shaking heads. Would you tolerate a motion from me?
Yes.
Okay. I move that petition 2023-15 of Monica Williams for a special permit under 3.2.5 for by appointment only Pilates studio at 34 South Main Street in a Residence A district be granted, subject to the following conditions. One, that all other requirements of other boards are met. I don't think there's anything you're doing here that's going to trip a Board of Health, but if you needed some other permit, you should get it. Two, that the use remain incidental and secondary to the use of the premises. Three, no employees. Four, no offensive smoke, no offensive noise, vibration, smoke, odor, fumes. Jeannie, we'll do it just exactly the way it appears in the bylaw. No public display of goods or wares, no exterior storage of equipment. And for a term of, these are usually 2, right? 4? You're muted. Jeannie, you're muted.
I know. Well, you can start it off at 2 and then go to 5.
Yeah, okay. So we usually for a term of 2 years. That's my motion.
3 or 2?
2.
2.
I second that motion.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. No further discussion. All in favor say aye. By roll call, Novak votes aye.
Labby, aye.
McBride, aye.
All right. Opposed, no. There are none of those. Congratulations and thank you. Good luck with your
Thank you
project.
so much. Thank you.
Have a great holiday. All right.
Thanks to all of you.
Next up. 2023-16 petition of Charles and Tia Dennis for a finding variance from 1.4. Oh, this is a finding, not a variance. Under 1.4.6 or 4.2 to remove a non-conforming garage and replace with a new garage on existing footprints with a 12 foot extension within the current setback at 266 Western Avenue in the Residence B district. Okay, and is there someone here to speak for Charles and Tia Dennis? I see someone with
Got us.
Tia's iPad. I'm
You've
betting
got-
that's probably.
Yeah, we're both here actually, so I'm
Okay.
I'm happy to speak. But we're the homeowners happy to explain. It's a 24 foot by 24 foot existing structure garage. It's actually in perilous condition and really needs to come down no matter what. Significant rot and it's falling apart. So the petition is not to encroach further on the setback, but just to extend to the south by 12 feet within that, basically keeping the garage structure at the same amount of encroachment on the setback. To push it back beyond the road would encroach upon our septic system and wetlands that I think you have indicated on your maps.
Okay, and do I have it correctly? This is the this is part of the property with the lovely antique, but it is the somewhat less lovely garage.
That's it. That's us. You know our house. Yeah.
I too have had a antique with a less lovely garage.
We're trying to do our share to create more lovely garages.
Okay. And board members, have you seen the materials? So where are you? It's a little hard for me because I didn't blow up these plans.
Sorry.
Where are you moving the footprint outside the existing footprint of the existing garage? Where are you moving?
12 feet south.
12 feet south. So you're moving closer to the moving closer to Route 16, where you've got
Correct.
buckets of room.
Correct.
But you're already too close to the road, so therefore you're moving within the setback.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so this is, and by the way, this comment is helpful. You are not applying for a variance, you're applying for a finding. And that's a good thing because the variance is the hardest thing in zoning to get and the easiest to overturn, so.
Fair enough. Great.
Okay. So we're gonna take, board members, with your permission, and we're gonna treat this as a request for a finding under 1.4.6. A lot of which we've done for just this sort of situation where they're extending laterally. Now, I hope Mr. Morris and Ms. Dennis, that you were listening carefully to our conversation before about foundations.
Duly noted. Yeah. Yeah.
We lost all sense of humor about that at 50 Whitney Street, and so just stay with, it's probably like the garage. I had a garage just like that I had to tear down on Hollow Street, and it's probably a crummy wood right on the ground type of foundation and some poured concrete inside of it, maybe.
Well, actually, to that point, so the foundation is inadequate for the structure. It's,
Right.
we're going to bring up the new garage. It's going to be to obviously up to insulation code, although it's not going to be conditioned space. But that means actually, I think it's less than an 8-inch foundation right now. So we need to move it to a 10-inch foundation. We've been talking to Chris about what that would look like. I just want to be clear, based on the last conversation with the Rodriguez property, will we need to have some foundation inspection then prior to? Is that okay?
Yeah, just coordinate with Chris as you're doing the work,
Fine.
so that as soon as they got the foundation, have him come out there and make sure it's measured and in the right spot. If it were me, I'd take pictures before and after, so you can really see, here's the old foundation, here's the new foundation, here's some tree or road in the background or something, so they can measure it and it's obvious.
Got it.
I also found from building my own project that offsets work well. So take a 15-foot offset in 2 directions and put a
Yeah.
stake in the ground, right? And that works pretty well to triangulate. So you can always do that quickly with before and after pictures if you want an immediate. That Chris usually takes that if it's pretty close. So
Right.
Really
It-
helpful.
It's one of these things that's it's astoundingly easy to comply with if you want to.
Fair enough.
Um,
Okay. Well, we want to, so we'll do it.
we get it. Okay.
Good.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the petition for a finding under 1.4.6 to rebuild and extend the garage in accordance with the plans submitted to us December 7th? No, I'm sorry, just October 17th. Anyone else speaking in favor? Robert
Yes.
Johnson, you're trying to speak in favor?
Yes,
Okay, you're up. Please speak.
we are neighbors, the nearest neighbors. The change will be most visible to my wife and I, and we have no objection to it.
All right, terrific. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
If you know how to put down your electronic hand, you could do that. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you're done. I half the time I can't put down my electronic hand. Steve Constantine, looks like I see your hand up. You do want to speak in favor of this? Maybe that's not. Maybe that's.
No, I don't have my hand up.
Oh, I beg your pardon. It's my mouse cursor, which turns into a hand in Zoom. I
Steve, you're
apologize,
welcome to
Stephen.
be in favor of it, though. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of it. It's great.
Okay, fair enough. Anyone else to speak in favor of this proposed rebuild of this garage? All right, anyone here to speak against the proposed garage? Okay. Board members, how do you feel?
motion to approve the finding.
Okay, and in accordance with the plans set forth, attached October 17th, December 7th, no, excuse me, October 17th, 2023 with the board and with the foundation line with respect to the roadside to be exactly, no closer, not even slightly closer to the road than the existing foundation edge. All right, so that we got a motion. Is there a second for that, Todd?
Yes, I second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, so the motion is to grant the petition. with the building to be built in exact conformity with the plans and not even slightly closer to the road than the existing foundation line. And which will be confirmed by the building inspector at the time the foundation is done
Great.
on a foundation plan. So all in favor of that, say aye. Novak votes aye.
Labby, I.
McBride, aye.
All right, opposed, no, there are none of those. Jeannie, do you have what you need to be able to write it?
I do.
All right, awesome. All right,
Grateful.
Chuck,
Thank you.
Tia, good luck. We look forward to your improved
Thank you.
garage, dramatically changing the overall aesthetics of the entire town. And not 1 inch closer to the street.
No, that part is clear. Thank you, board.
Okay.
Grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. All right, let's see. All right, 2023-17, petition of Lisa A. Clifton for a variance from section 4.2 to construct a 24 by 24 garage within 10-foot one of the side lot line at 23 Lake Street, Residence A District. All right, is there anyone here to speak for Lisa Clifton? Perhaps maybe Lisa Clifton.
Yes,
Maybe
Mr.
somebody
Chairman.
else.
Yeah, Michael Norris, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes, please speak.
I'm an attorney. I have an office in Milford.
Okay.
Lisa has owned this property since 2000 and I believe 2002. And since owning the property, she's wanted to put a garage.
No, 1992.
1996, excuse
30
me,
years. 30 years.
30 years. And she's wanted to put a garage on the property since owning it, but has been unable to do so. The problem with it is, first of all, there is no place on the property that meets the setback requirement other than maybe in the front of the property. And obviously that's not a very good place for it. To the side of the property, there's a septic system and you can't put the foundation, you can't put a garage on that. The other problem, which was a more significant problem, was that there was a right of way running through her property, portion of the property called Obed Lane. And for years, Lisa had wanted to extinguish that, but never was quite able to do so. Obed Lane, Lisa's property is registered land. And this created an even more difficult problem in getting this extinguished. But over the past couple of years, we went to the land court, and very recently, the land court has extinguished Obed Lane, removed it from her title, so it is no longer a problem for her to put the garage where that Obed Lane was. The difficulty with it is that in putting the garage, it's 10 feet, a little over 10 feet off of the sideline. And the owner of the property next door, who happens to be Jeannie Guthrie, does not want to make any changes to her property line and wants to keep it the way it is. This property has an odd shape. If you're on Lake Street looking at the property, the left sideline is a straight line. The rear line goes at an angle, and the right sideline, it goes at a big angle, which prevents the setback from her meeting the setback requirements.
So I'm a little disappointed. Maybe I lost something. Was there a site plan included? It looks like I see plans of the building.
Yeah, there's a plot plan that was submitted.
Okay.
And
Oh, I see. It's the one that's folded. It was copied and folded. Got it.
There's two plans that were submitted. One was a plot plan that shows the proposed location. And the second is an older plan that shows the location of the septic system.
Yeah.
So obviously we can't put it where the septic system was.
Yeah.
And the only other place to put it would be where it's shown on the plan. If we were to put it to the rear of the property, we're gonna have the same setback problems. Not only that, the contours of this property are such that it would be very difficult to do it. The property has an upgrade so that it slopes up as you go back and makes it difficult to move the garage any further back than where it is. And as the garage will also be built into the side of the hill that's going up there. So,
Okay, and you're a practicing attorney, you know how high the incredible high hurdles are for a variance. Walk us through why this has those very special, unique circumstances.
well, first of all, she, as indicated before, she's been there for this length of time.
That's not in the statute, you know that.
I understand.
Just try to keep you to what the statute says, sir.
The location, if I could read you in order for the board to grant the variance, it must consider certain factors relative to soil conditions. The soil conditions are such that she could put it somewhere, but because of the location of the septic system, which affects it, we can't move it to the front of the property. The topography of the topography is an upgrade. So you can't move it back. You can't put it behind the house because that's on a slope going up, and it would be difficult, if not impossible, to meet the grades of a driveway in order to get it there. The shape of the land, as I indicated before, is such that on that side of the house, it angles in significantly, which prevents you from meeting the 30-foot setback. If the property was such that it was a line going straight back, we might be able to comply with the setback, but we can't because of the line that goes to the side of the property.
Sir, I'm sorry, but just to go back to the statute, soil condition, shape, or topography of such lands and structures, and especially affecting such land or structures, but not generally affecting the zoning district. I mean, lots of Sherborn has odd-shaped lots. Lots of Sherborn has steep lots. Lots of Sherborn has rocky lots. I don't see the uniqueness here.
Well, the uniqueness is because of there is no other location on this property where you could put it. You can't put it to the rear because you're going to have the setback requirements there. You can't put it to the other side because it would be unrealistic to have a driveway coming into the other side of the house where you don't have the entrance. We don't have your driveway. It would be unrealistic to put it in the front of the house because you would not have a garage in the front of your property. And this
people do that.
No,
people do that.
Literally the front, it would, in order to meet the setbacks of this property, it would probably be directly in front of my front door.
Right.
It's very strange because it's old. You know, the house was moved there in 1850 and it's shaped like a Big Dipper with that weird little stretch. In order to not seek a variance from the other neighbor, there's just no place to put this. You can't put it on the other side. There's no place to put it.
Yes, ma'am.
Variance.
But I think we agree that the principle is hydraulic, i.e. if there's nowhere else to put it, but what we disagree about is what the result is, because if there's nowhere else to put it, the answer is maybe you can't have a garage on that property. Not that you get a variance. Mr. Norris, can you tell me why, you probably went over this and I probably missed it, and I'm sorry, why the garage can't move to the north, i.e. left on the plan, over close to the house and get within the zoning envelope shown on that plan?
Because you're going to be within this 30-foot setback there as well.
Maybe I'll try to see if we can pull it up. I'll try to describe it. If you moved it off Obed, I assume Obed Lane, is that the leg that goes through the property and then out the garden out the back? Is that Obed there?
Yeah, that's gone. Obed
Okay,
Lane-
right. The former location of Obed.
Obed,
Um,
yeah.
But why can't the same 24 by 24 garage simply move? Where's my north arrow? Northwest, parallel to Lake Street, closer to the house and within all the setbacks. There's a box there it could fit in.
Because of the slope. You have a very steep slope going back there.
Where, I'm not sure where are you saying it would
Yeah,
go?
let me try to see if I can.
Do you want me to share it?
Can you share it, Jeannie?
Good,
Yeah, if you could share the plot plan, because that's what, Rick, that's what you're looking at, right? There's
Correct.
a clear bent building envelope with the required setbacks. It's the strong dashed line.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
And there's the point that Rick is making is that there is plenty of white space for the proposed garage to fit.
Yeah, the next one. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
And can you just rotate it counterclockwise 90?
Yeah,
The
sorry.
other clockwise.
All right.
One more time.
Come on.
There we go.
All right. And can you zoom in just a little bit, please, Jeannie? That's perfect. It's very helpful.
Thank you, Jeannie.
I don't know if I can zoom in.
All right. Well, don't worry about it. You've got it there. We can see it. Mr. Norris, can you now see where I'm talking about? Where you essentially slide
I
the
understand what
garage?
you're talking about.
You're saying it's too steep there.
It's steep there and it's her only yard. And if you put it, it wouldn't even fit within there. You're gonna be within that 30-foot setback.
I still don't, I'm so sorry. I still don't understand where you're thinking you're putting this because, well, you can't see my hands, but my neighbor has the land behind. If you can see my existing barn, she's right
Yes.
behind there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so
Totally.
if you look at the top left corner, that gives me the setback for her.
Right.
There's no other place that I can get a setback.
Jeannie, can you put your cursor over the area I'm talking about?
Right here.
Right there, exactly.
Yep.
And
would
the answer.
I would
Go ahead.
still be affecting my other neighbor.
Why?
I wouldn't have the setback for her.
Yes, you would.
Yes, you would.
I have a stone wall here.
Yeah.
So it just eliminates the backyard.
Well, but you'd get a garage.
Okay.
But
I think the difficulty we're having here, Ms. Clifton, is and Mr. Norris, maybe you can explain it better than I can. Variances are the rarest of rare zoning relief that can only be done when really there's no other. For example, we gave a variance for a garage for a property that was made an undersized lot over on Lake Street in the 1850s when they laid out the roads and they left a little triangle in the middle because they had a unique shape that nobody else in that area had. Your site does not seem terribly difficult to me. I mean, you can choose to have a yard, you can choose to have a garage. And either one of those fits within the zoning setback.
Yeah, but to put the garage behind the house, you're gonna be digging into a hill. Because this grade, if you look, unfortunately, this plan doesn't show the grades. But the prior septic system plan that I think is there does show the grades. It's too steep to put the house back, the garage back there. You can't put, it would eliminate her backyard completely. And it would be in an unrealistic position for entrance into the house. And it would be extending the garage back, the driveway back probably another 40 or 50 feet in order to put it back there.
Well, there are, you're a lawyer, you've looked at the cases too. There are absolutely no zoning cases that said someone's entitled to a variance because they didn't want to put a garage where they have a yard. I mean, that's the classic case where a variance isn't isn't granted. There is a spot within the zoning variance where the addition can go. It may not be what the owner wants, but they do have that choice.
Well,
Zach, you can straighten me out if you think I've got the law wrong, but I
No, I think it's unfortunately spot on. I mean, it's yeah, we could get into the background of zoning, the authority for zoning and health and safety, but I won't bore you with that. But Rick is correct, and unfortunately, I don't think the situation militates here in favor of granting the variance, and it's not like it's like a little bit over. It's way over. So I think I'd be frankly a little inclined to maybe move something if it was like a foot or two over, but not the vast majority by any means. So
right, and again, Ms. Clifton, part of the problem with variances is everybody wants one. Everybody.
I've lived here for 30 years.
Yes.
I don't have kids here. I'm not putting kids in the school, but you're basically saying to me that I can't age in place in the house, so I will have to sell. This was my reason for wanting. I went to land court. I spent years in land court. I went to town meeting. It's a small garage. It's being buried in a hill, so Jeannie has not had a problem with it. I went to her first to see if there was an issue with her, and if she and Mike had a problem, I wouldn't have done anything about it. And so I'm incredibly disappointed that I've been in town for a long time, and now I'm going to have to move. And that makes me.
Ma'am, variances are not a popularity contest, and even if all of your neighbors were here with pitchforks and torches saying give her the variance, the answer would still be the same, because it's a legal standard. So it's not that nobody doesn't like you, and if you want to age in place, you can put a garage on your site, but it will have to take up some of your yard.
Well, it will in effect take up the entire backyard. It will leave basically nothing. So okay.
I think.
Can I just speak quickly as an abutter and not as a person who attends these meetings, because I love to be here.
God. Yes, please.
I think that I'm looking at this drawing, and I think that it doesn't quite show how small of an area that's there. And I don't know if she could put a garage without hitting the non-conformity anywhere, because that area it's a small area, and I don't think she could even put the garage where you're asking her to.
Well, even if there weren't space on her site within the zoning envelope, she would still have the same problem, because having a garage is not a zoning entitlement. That is not per se hardship. And definitely not having your garage where you want it is not a hardship under the cases at all.
But I think you have to look at the rest of the statute. I mean, this doesn't affect the zoning district. It doesn't affect anything. The only person it would affect would be the abutter. She has no objection to it. And that, it's a detriment to her because she can't, maintain, stay there. She's gone through every step she needs in order to create a location for this garage. And even the setbacks, although it's, it is a 10-foot setback and the requirement is 30, there's no other realistic place to put this garage.
But Mr. Norris, you know perfectly well that the argument you're making, which is the person wants to have a garage, there's nowhere else to easily put it. They're a good person. They've lived in town a long time. This is important to them. And the neighbors don't object, is the classic set of facts that are not a variance. That's why all the variance cases are there, is to prevent the board from saying, gosh, she seems like a nice woman. She's been in town for 30 years and she didn't send kids to school. And boy, that meant she paid a lot of taxes, more than the rest of us, and we should thank her. But that's not what a variance is about. The statute is incredibly explicit about that, and so is the case law. I think, and I don't see anything here that uniquely affects this property that doesn't affect a lot of the district and the rest of town.
Well, I think if this garage were going closer to the street, we're affecting the neighborhood, we're affecting the area, I might agree with you, but this garage going where it is doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect the abutter. Her house and her property is away from the garage. It doesn't affect anything. It allows her a use that she's wanted. And I think the denial of it would be, not unrealistic. I mean, I think there's no other place you can do this. Even though she may not be legally entitled to a garage, she certainly wants the ability to have one, has gone through a lot of work and effort in order to try and get there. And has eliminated what was an old easement area that gave people rights to go on her property that nobody can go on there now, which has
Right,
also an effect with the town.
But nobody on this board told her to spend years in land court trying to get rid of an old road, which is incredibly difficult. And my hat is off to you and your counsel, Ms. Clifton, for accomplishing that. That is difficult. It takes years. But none of us said, if you do that, we'll give you a variance.
No, but it was our understanding that you wouldn't even listen to a petition without it being gone, it'd be extinguished. So
Well,
we've gone through that stage.
certainly I haven't seen this before, but if you'd come to this board while I was on it on a discussion basis, I'd say, save your money because you're not going to get a variance. I mean, it's probably nice that those road rights are gone, but getting a variance is the hardest of the hard. And these are just terrible facts for it.
Well, in all due respect, I don't agree with you. I think that
Okay, I appreciate that.
she's entitled to put up a garage and has no location to do it. It doesn't affect anything by putting this garage up. That's what I'm having difficulty
And
with.
with respect, she is not entitled to put up a garage in the zoning setback any more than I am.
But the zoning, but where she's putting it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect any,
But everyone who wants a variance says that. My neighbor is in favor of it. It's okay. And
Well,
if we give a variance here, we'll have to give everybody else one on the same grounds. But
Well,
board members, let me know if you disagree. But I just don't see a variance case here.
Rick, I'm in full agreement with you with regards to the facts of this case and with regards to the case law, to the best of my knowledge as a professional in the field.
It's not a happy situation. I mean,
It does not give us pleasure.
Right.
For what it's worth.
Me either. But it is our job. Let me suggest this, Mr. Norris and Ms. Clifton. It is much better for you to withdraw an application because then there's nothing on the record. Whereas if we go to a vote and we vote a variance down and you come back with something else later, you're going to have a repetitive petition problem and a variance denial on the record and stuff that won't do you any good. Do you want to think about maybe withdrawing this one? Or we can adjourn it to next meeting if you want to think about that.
Well, if you're not going to give it to me, then I guess we withdraw it and then I figure out what my next steps are.
Right, and Mr. Norris, if you'd rather adjourn it to next meeting, in case you think you're going to come in with a different argument or a new case or something like that, it's not that we're averse to hearing you.
well, I think we would withdraw the application at this time.
Okay, all right. So I would take that as a request by the applicant to withdraw the application. Board members, how do we feel about that? I'd suggest that we accept that because that gives them the most flexibility going forward.
I'm amenable to that.
I agree.
Okay, all right. I hereby move that we accept the petitioner's suggestion to withdraw application 2023-17. And that's my motion.
I
Discussion?
second that motion.
So we get it moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, aye. Novak votes aye.
Labby, aye.
McBride, aye.
All right. I'm sorry for your disappointment, Ms. Clifton, and Mr. Norris. Thank you for your zealous and professional, but also polite advocacy.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next one we covered. So 2023-19, Jamal Siddiqui for Drew Casval and Dret Piercy for a special permit 3.2.2 accessory apartment 58 Oldfield in Residence B.
Hi,
And is
good
there someone to
evening.
speak for the petitioner? Yes, sir.
Yep, I'm here. Jamal
Okay.
Siddiqui from Your Sir Design Build.
All right. And do you want to walk us through what you have in mind here? This
Yeah,
this is a
sure.
new one, right? It's not a renewal, Jeannie, right? It's a new one.
It's new.
Okay.
Yep.
So yes, please, sir. Walk us through what you have in mind.
Do you want me to share my screen? I can pull up the plan so everybody can see.
That would be great. Thank you.
All right. So to give you an idea, what you have in front of us, and if you need me to zoom on anything, just let me know. What we have here currently is a two-car garage and a family room on the first floor, which we would like to build a second story above it. There's already an unfinished attic space. All we would be doing is raising the roof a tad bit and dormering the front side to accommodate for an in-law suite, which would be strictly used for the client's parents who are aging. They're already living on premises, on the premise, and kind of been trying to get this project done for quite a while. And we've been trying to get this into motion as soon as possible as well. The project, as far as square footages go, the apartment or the in-law suite is going to be under 1,000 square feet, 960 to be exact. Half of it is actually in part of what was already existing as finished area. So to give you the second story layout, zoom in. Existing layout is that there is an existing bedroom here, and this is the unfinished space that you can directly walk in from the existing house. And then there's an additional existing unfinished area above the garage as well. We'd like to convert this space into the in-law suite and then do a small rear addition on the backside over here to accommodate a staircase from the ground level so that the in-laws can have their own entry point on a daily basis. To give you the layout. So this is the proposed first floor plan. These are the two-car garage. We'd be putting a small addition, which is roughly 4.5 feet in width. It would be the same or depth, 4.5 feet in depth, and the same width as the existing garage, which is roughly 24.5. And there would be a carport, which would be open, which would also be used as a second story deck for the in-law suite. So staircase goes up, and then once you're on the second story, you walk up the staircase. You have a door that leads to the deck above the carport, and then a living area with a open floor plan that has a kitchen, and then a bedroom that is off the living room, and a attached bathroom to the suite, and then a closet space / storage area. The apartment would have access from the existing house as well for any sort of emergencies. God forbid, if the in-laws are older, so if they need to gain access to kids need to gain access to this space on an emergency basis, they do have the ability of getting into the apartment. So as far as floor plan goes, that is what the proposed in-law suite will be as far as layout goes, and I think it'd be best to kind of just show you what the exterior would look like. So let me bring this up as well. So just so for reference purposes, this is what's existing there right now. The house has 3 tiers, all gables, and we are planning to do a dormer on the front over here and then do a gable on the back side of the garage over here to accommodate, which you see right here. And that would just be a carport. And then this is that 4-foot addition on the backside to accommodate the staircase going up to the suite. That pretty much summarizes what we're requesting. I did speak to Chris, I believe, the building inspector, as far as building codes go and whatnot. Since this is going to be strictly used for the in-laws and never going to be rented out to any rented out as a separate apartment, we do abide by the egress code. So that's just an extra point to make on there. But yeah, that is a quick summary of the project.
Okay. And are you proposing that there be a specific condition limiting it to family members? Because you don't have to have that unless I'd suggest that you not add that, because then you can decide to lease it out only to family members, but the bylaw allows it to be third parties.
No, if as far as the bylaws go, we'd like to keep that open. The only reason why I brought that up was because that was a point of conversation that I had with Chris as far as building codes go. So if this needs to be rented out, there would have to be accommodations made to get a second means of egress and whatnot.
Okay, all right.
To avoid that for this purpose of the project and what the needs for the client are right now, we would not be requesting that we need a second means of egress. So they kind of run in parallel, hence why I brought it up.
Yeah. Smart. Okay, I understand. Is there anyone else to speak? And is that your presentation, sir?
Yep. Unless there's any questions that we need to answer.
Well, let's see. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this project? Is there anyone here to speak against or in commentary? Okay, Mr. Hunter.
Yes, I'm not speaking either. Speaking pro or con. I'm in a butter, and of course we hadn't heard anything about this until we received the notice, I think last week, from the zoning board. So I'm attending because I wanted to find out what it was about. And I guess one question I have is it's an additional bedroom, but it's also an additional bath. Is that correct? I understand.
So the bedroom count is going to stay the same because we are removing one of the bedrooms that is currently there, and we're going to be repurposing that area as a bath for the in-law suite.
Okay. Is it possible to do some kind of study, or is it necessary to do some sort of study to see how it affects the water use? That's one of the things I was wondering.
One of the conditions, if we were to grant this, would be that they comply with all requirements of the Board of Health, and the Board of Health is pretty sensitive to when people are adding rooms like this. They're often adding a bedroom, sometimes through clever design. They take away another bedroom, so they're moving a bedroom, which sounds like what they've done here. And even though it's counterintuitive, our Board of Health regulations and statewide actually do it by bedroom count. You can have 50 bathrooms, and if you only have 3 bedrooms, you're okay. If you've got a 3-bedroom septic system, that's how they count. They count by bedrooms. And it sounds like, if I've heard the designer correctly, what you've done is hold the bedroom count steady by taking away other bedrooms to cover the one you've added. And then they can have as many bathrooms as they want. But we would, Mr. Hunter, condition this on the Board of Health being satisfied that they've stayed within their septic requirements.
So to add to that point, we do already have approval from the Board of Health. Also, we've already gone through the process, gotten approval from them. Hence why this is like our last hurdle before getting a building permit.
Now, it doesn't mean, Mr. Hunter, that their septic system isn't going to fail. the town is filled with septic systems that were put in 50 years ago with a 30-year useful life. And you don't have to be a math major to figure out that some of those are like me, aging out. And
Yeah.
so
And the Board of Health just approved a new building around the corner on I forget the street right now. Wildwood, 7,000 square foot home that has now polluted our water system. So I have little confidence in the Board of Health's decisions on this.
So, well, it's not relevant to this house, but it is. But no, but I want to hear what happened with your well that's related to the new septic system next door.
The new septic system, you mean at
the 7,000 foot house had a
oh,
new septic system.
That's on Wildwood. No, the abutters were they were.
I see. They say it polluted their wells. Got it. Not yours.
Oh no.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Do you have further comments or questions on this project, sir? And you can have as many as you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just one more question, a clarification. Does this make the house a multifamily dwelling?
Good, smart question. And the answer is kind of, sort of. It doesn't make it a multifamily dwelling in the sense of capital M, capital F, capital D under our zoning bylaw. It makes it a single family residence with an additional dwelling unit. But if you've been reading the newspapers or reading the media, there's no newspapers anymore. I'm probably the last person who gets one. These additional dwelling units in a single family residence are a housing thing now, a considered by many to be a good way to produce additional small housing units without actually building lots of more boxes. So I hope that was a rational answer. In other words, don't look at the multifamily dwelling provision of our zoning bylaw and say, aha, that applies to this now, because it doesn't.
I understand.
I hope that answer was not was responsive and not too technical, because I'm trying not to be technical.
No.
Anyone else with to speak on this project for or against, or neutrally, or just with questions? Gene, I don't see anybody. Okay. Well, that leaves maybe board members, do we want him to have him stop sharing the screen, or do you want to leave it up?
All set.
Okay.
I'm good on my end.
All right. Can you please stop sharing, sir? Thank you. Okay. Board members, how do we feel about this?
Seems as though they're within regulation to be able to do it.
Right. Yeah. Mr. Siddiqui, you might have said it, I might have missed it. You're within the square footage requirement?
Yep. 960.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Mr. McBride, any brilliant insights? Lackluster insights of any kind?
Just one question. We didn't get a plot plan with this, right? I didn't see it in the packet.
It should be. If not, I can bring it up if you guys need to take a look at it.
Yeah, there's no plot plan with the special permit, because they're not adding on for the apartment.
Well, it'd still be useful to see. Do you have one you can pull up, Mr. Siddiqui?
Yep.
They are adding a footprint.
Yeah, they are adding to the footprint. That's exactly. I think Todd's right.
Right.
We are
just that little carport and the deck over it. Yeah. If that were in a zoning setback, it would count. Okay.
I highly doubt it is. The property's pretty large.
Let's see, 100 feet, 178 feet. Yeah, I think that's pretty clearly within outside the zoning setbacks.
And they've already applied for a building permit and Chris has gone over this pretty thoroughly.
Okay. Right,
That's
but it's a
fine.
reasonable thing
I
for
just
Todd to
hadn't
want to
seen
see.
this. Yeah, I just hadn't seen this before, so for our benefit, for the sake of the recording, I think it's important to capture.
Yeah.
Do you want me to send this to you via email or something? Because it is part of the building permit document.
Yes, I'd like you to send it to Jeannie so she can attach it to your petition with your other plans.
Okay, sure. I can email it to Jeannie.
And then we'll be able to refer to it. Okay. Other thoughts, comments, questions?
Jamal,
none for me.
could you also send me the house plans, the outside as well as the inside for the folder?
Yep, I can email both those documents here right now.
Great, thanks.
I have a side question on this.
Yes.
I live
Who's
across
speaking,
the road.
please? I'm sorry.
This is Adamya Ashk. I live across the road from the property.
Okay, great. Please go ahead, sir.
Just a simple question. So, Jamal, when does the construction supposed to start, and how long will it take?
So assuming that we get approval today, I believe we have a 20-day wait time, and then we're hoping to start the beginning of the new year. And then as far as construction timeline goes, there is other scope of work to the project as well, which doesn't pertain to this, which is more interior renovation on the other side. So if we're talking about just the right side, probably where the in-law suite is, we should be able to have the property weatherproofed and kind of out of sight, out of mind within, I would say, 10 to 12 weeks. And then we'd be working on the interior of the space.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, good, smart, fair question. And just Jamal, we usually don't print and sign the decision the night we vote it. It sometimes takes a little while to work its way through the system.
Sure.
So your 20-day period starts when we sign it and file it, and that sometimes takes a little bit, but it doesn't take forever.
Right. I'm assuming that's going to also with Christmas coming around, the holidays, that's going to play a role.
You know the joy of trying to get contracting done during the holidays, but that is not, this board cannot help you with that.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, anyone else here to speak on this petition one way or another, or with questions? Okay. Board members, what do you think? I'd be inclined to make a motion to. Sorry, go ahead, Todd.
I have no objection.
Motion.
All right. Well, let me take a shot at a motion, and then you guys can see how you feel about it. For petition 2023-19, I move that we vote to approve the application for a special permit under section 3.2.2 for an accessory apartment at 58 Oldfield, on the conditions that the project be built in accordance with the plans submitted to the board as A-3, A-4, and the site plan. Jamal, tell me what's the designation on that?
1 sec. Let me bring it back up.
Sorry, I should have asked.
Sherborn, Oldfield Drive, dated 10/24/23.
Okay, as he said, that site plan, and subject to the conditions that the project to be built in compliance with all building codes, including without limitation applicable egress and access for family use. Is that the right term, Jamal, under the building code? Related party use as opposed to unrelated parties. You're talking about the egress would have to be different.
Oh, caught me off guard. Off my head. I don't.
All right.
The term.
I'll rephrase. For correct access and egress use reflecting the occupancy of the proposed unit and that it be built in compliance with all requirements of all other town boards, including, without limitation, the Board of Health. Anybody got any seconds or friendly amendments or even unfriendly amendments to that? Openly hostile amendments?
I think that seems right.
Take that as a second, Zach?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Jeannie, were you able to get that down, or did it just garble it too much?
I know, but it's recorded, so I can go back and listen to you all
Oh,
over again.
wonderful. Gee, what a great special experience that must be.
Unbelievable.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion from the board members?
No.
Seeing none. All right. Vote by roll call. Novak votes aye.
Labby, aye.
McBride, aye.
Okay. Opposed, no. There are none of those. Congratulations, homeowners. Thank you very much. Excellent presentation, Mr. Siddiqui. I think the only other thing we have before we adjourn is I'd like to suggest that we bring up at our next meeting a proposal to amend the Board of Appeals rules and regulations to cover large projects. And Chris Canny brought this to my attention, which is we've got part-time inspectors, part-time building inspectors, part-time plumbing inspectors, all those things. When we have a large project like 50, 60 units going on, that isn't enough to cover it. We have to hire outside people or pay those people overtime because they're outside their budget. And the proposal that we're going to check out with town council, make sure it's okay, is that in those larger projects that the developer provide a fund to fund the actual and reasonable third-party costs of that work. And then if there's any money left at the end, it goes back to the developer. It's just it's not a revenue generation. It's not a holdup. It's just so that poor Chris Kenny doesn't have to go beg for more money.
Are we looking for a bond for that, or?
No, I don't think it would be a bond. I think it would be like a deposit, like they put in deposits for the
reviewer,
for the peer reviewers.
Okay.
Nothing, just simple, and it's not big bucks either. But it's big bucks when Chris is out.
Yeah, I can imagine it adds up.
Well, it adds up times 50.
Right. All right. So so just we're not voting on anything. I just wanted to raise that in the public hearing. And we'll try to bring it back to the board with some sort of concrete proposal on the 14th, I think, was when we next have the exquisite pleasure of being together.
So I'll add that to the agenda.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else I missed, board members or Jeannie?
No, I'm going to have minutes for approval, finishing up the November 7th minutes, but we can do what was it, October 4th and September 6th or something.
Right.
Rick made some comments. I think I sent them to the rest of the board. So.
Yeah, it'd be good to, if you can, I know it's busy in the holidays and particularly you guys with little kids, but if you can possibly get to those minutes, that'd be great because then we can post them and then the development team can start throwing rocks at them. The nice part is because it's all recorded, at the end of the day, what's on the record is on the record.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't like them, they don't like them.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be accurate. We do our best. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Okay, all right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, I'd like to say, have a good holiday, but we're going to be back together in another 9 days.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much for your time, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
All right. Good night.
Thank you. You do the same. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Jeannie.
You're welcome.